Greetings all and welcome to lesson 10 on basics of stock markets. In the last few lessons, we saw how a company raises funds via IPO and finally lists itself on the exchange. We also saw how to buy and sell shares from our demat account. Apart from that, in the last few lessons, we also saw tax related to trading and also few terminologies. Taking a step ahead, in today's lesson also, we're going to talk about few terms which you will hear very rarely but are very important. Let us start with rights issue. Rights issue is basically an offer to the existing shareholders to buy shares at a discounted price. When company wants to raise fund, it can raise fund via debt or via equity. Now, when a company has already raised money via IPO and if it wants more money, it cannot raise one more IPO. Rather, the easiest way is to do rights issue. Now, what exactly is right issue? Right issue is basically giving more shares from the company's account to the existing shareholders at a special discounted price. Let us understand this with Raju's Spice Shop company. Now let us say after raising IPO and after getting listed on the exchange, we have crossed 2 years. Now after 2 years, Raju realizes that he needs another 500 crore rupees to raise his business. Now he doesn't want to take loan from the bank, and because of which he prefers rights issue. In rights issue, Raju will issue shares to the existing shareholder at a special discounted price. Remember, rights issue is only given to the existing shareholders. That means if you're not owning the shares of Raju's Spice Shop, you will not get rights of Raju's Spice Shop. Now let us say Raju's Spice Shop is trading at 300 rupees per share. To raise more money, Raju can offer an attractive price of 250 rupees per share for the existing shareholders to buy extra shares. Now, when existing shareholders will try to purchase the shares from the right issue, they will get the new shares at 250 rupees, that is 50 rupees lesser than the current price. Because of which a lot of people invest or buy more shares and company raises funds for its expansion. When right issue is announced by company, it is always announced to the proportion of the shares held by a user. For example, let us say Raju announces a right issue of 1:10. That means for a shareholder who is holding 10 shares, he will be eligible to get one extra share at the discounted price. For example, if I am holding 100 shares of Raju's Spice Shop and there is an announcement of 1:10 right issue, I can get 10 extra shares at the discounted price of 250 rupees. Now the next question that arises is, why are rights given only in proportion? This is done to ensure that there is no malpractice involved. If the rights are not issued in proportion to the shares held, a lot of investors will buy only one shares of each company and wait for the rights to be issued, and then they can buy it at a discounted price in bulk. To ensure such malpractices does not happen, rights are always issued to the proportion of the shares. Now, to be eligible for the rights issue, you have to buy the shares before the record date. Just like dividend, split or bonus, we have X date and a record date. The X date is called as X right date. That means you have to buy shares before X right date to ensure your name is in the record date and you will be eligible for the rights of that particular company. So one thing is clear, right issue is done to raise funds and issue more shares. The next question that comes in our mind is, from where are these extra shares coming into picture? Who is providing these extra shares? In this case, the extra shares are coming from the director, promoter and the founder of the company. Remember, in the dividend and in the bonus, the extra shares or the dividend was coming from the reserves and not from the promoter or the founder or the director's pocket. Here, there will be a production of extra shares because of which the weightage of each share would reduce. When these extra shares are circulated among the retail traders, and when retail investors or traders purchases these shares at a discounted price, the weightage of promoters, directors and founders dilutes in the company. That means when there is a right issue, the stake of the founding team of the company gets diluted, and these shares are passed on to the retail traders in the form of a right issue. Now, since there is an increase in the number of shares in the market, we have more shares, but the profits or the revenue of the company remains same, and there are more shares to cater, the share prices drops down. So just like dividend or bonus, in the case of right issue also, the prices falls down to the proportion of the right issued. After rights issue, the next topic that we're going to talk about is buyback. You see, Raju raised 500 crores in right issue, and after 2 to 3 years, he made enough money to make sure that his growth will be sustained even after repaying this 500 crore. Raju finally decides to get more hold or more stake in his company. Remember, in the rights issue, his stakes were diluted because he passed on shares at a discounted price. He wants to get that stake back now, because of which he will announce a buyback. Now, buyback, as the name suggests, is basically buying the shares from the retail participant to strengthen the hold in the company. When a buyback is announced, it is usually announced at a price greater than the price in the market. Let us say currently the price of the share of Raju's Spice Shop is running 300 rupees in the market. When Raju will announce buyback, Raju will announce buyback at 320 rupees. That means whoever wants to sell shares to Raju, Raju will be purchasing it at 320 rupees. That means a premium of 20 rupees, attracting more and more people to sell the shares. Now, when Raju's company will buy back more number of shares, the number of shares outstanding in the market would reduce, which will basically strengthen the position of director, promoter and Raju's hold in the company, because of which share prices will also go up. You see, when the outstanding number of shares in the market reduces, the prices of the shares automatically goes up. Buyback is also a very positive sign in the company, because if a company's promoter or founder is investing in its own company, it gives assurance to rest of the traders or investors that the company is going to do very good in near future. In short, buyback is exactly opposite to rights issue. Rights issue is done to expand the business by diluting the equity, and buyback is done to get back the diluted equity by paying away cash from the reserves. After rights issue, buyback, the next term is FPO, also called as follow-on public offer. Now, IPO and FPO are similar. IPO stands for initial public offering. FPO stands for follow-on public offer. Both are almost same. IPO is nothing but public offer for the first time, and that is why it is called as initial public offer. But if a company that is already listed on the exchange comes with IPO again, it is not called as IPO, rather it is called as FPO, follow on public offer. Now, the reason here is also very simple. If a company wants to raise funds and is very aggressive in raising fund, it does not want to give offer to its existing shareholder but wants to open window for everyone, it can start FPO. In follow-on public offer, company raises funds by diluting more equity from its pocket to the retail traders and investors. Just like rights issue, in FPO also, the stake of the existing shareholders gets diluted. Now, there are two types of FPO. One is dilutive FPO, other is non-dilutive FPO. Dilutive FPO is very simple. Company wants to raise fund and it is ready to give in more shares to the public from its pocket, and hence the promoters, director and the owner of the company will reduce stake in the company. Whereas in the non-dilutive FPO, any one promoter or director decides to give up its equity because he or she wants to exit from the company and wants to sell shares to the public. In that case, only that director or promoter's equity will be sold to the public in the FPO, because of which there will be no impact on the other promoters or directors of the company. And that type of FPO is called as non-dilutive FPO. After FPO, the next term is OFS. OFS stands for offer for sale. It is almost similar to non-dilutive FPO. When a particular promoter wants to exit a particular business or reduce the stake in the company, he can offer shares to the public at a discounted price or at a sale price. For example, Raju's stock is trading at 300 rupees per share and one of the director wants to exit. He can offer in the market his entire shares at just 150 rupees per share. Now, a lot of people will try to buy that share at 150 and they will start bidding. The price which promoter decides is also called as floor price, that is 150, and a lot of people will start bidding on 150 rupees, and whichever price is the best price, that price will be decided as the final price, just like in the case of IPO, and at that price all the transaction will be done. The only difference between FPO and OFS is that in FPO there's a lot of paperwork, SEBI approval is very stringent, and also the process goes on for 3 to 7 days. Whereas in the case of OFS, the process is very simple and it takes only 1 day for the entire process to complete. That means offer for sale is valid only for 1 day. Also, OFS is not allowed for all the companies. It is allowed only for the top 200 companies of the nation. So, rights issue, FPO and OFS are all done with the same intention, that is to raise money from public. Rights issue is basically raising money from the existing shareholders. FPO is raising money from the entire audience, and OFS is basically directors or promoters diluting their stakes to the shareholders. Whereas buyback is nothing but buying the shares from the public to strengthen the position in the company. That's it for today. In our coming class, we're going to talk about futures and options in detail. See you in my next video.